Figure Force! It's Figure Force YouTube toy collector team vlogging to save the day. Figure Force! Nostalgic vintage toy heroes. Figure Force!
Hello everyone, it's Alright here and welcome to another Figure Force video. And this is a video I've been really looking forward to making when I ordered this toy. But it turned out to be a little bit of a nightmare, a new toy nightmare. Let me go back to when I ordered the toy. Now, I've got lots of memories about toys when I was a kid, and that's probably why I'm so into them now. It's the nostalgia, it's the memories. And one of those memories stems back to my first family holiday when I was about 7 or 8. I was in Wales and I was down there for a week in a caravan, and there was a little toy shop, independent toy shop there, and in there they had the NECA Terminator 2 figures. Terminator 2 was out at the cinema. I hadn't seen it at that point. Even though I was young, my parents had let me watch the first Terminator film, which I've mentioned before. The end scene still horrifies me today, the exoskeleton and everything like that. So, what happened was, me and my dad would go down to that shop every day, and because we were on holiday, he treated me to a toy every day. And I believe one of the toys I picked up from there was the Power Arm Terminator. Now, for those of you who don't know, the Power Arm Terminator basically has an interchangeable arm. It has a human arm, a claw arm, and a missile launcher. And this was my favourite Arnie figure when I was a kid, simply because it was the nearest thing to how he looked in the movie. Yes, I know he hasn't got sleeves and he didn't wear a purple t-shirt and half his face wasn't taken off exactly like that, but it was my favourite. And it was simple, 5 points of articulation, legs go forward but not back, head does a full 360. It's a simple toy, but one that I absolutely loved. Oh, and his power arms popped off. So you can imagine my excitement when I saw NECA, and I've picked up a few NECA figures recently. We're actually doing a tribute line for these figures. And lo and behold, in the first wave was the Power Arm Terminator. When this guy turned up, I was so excited. I had a quick play with him. I popped him to one side, and the following evening, I decided I was going to get him out of the box and have a play. So what we'll do first is I'll show you the box, and I'll show you exactly where I got and his accessories, and show you the point where I got to when this became a little bit of a nightmare. So the box itself really is reminiscent of how these figures looked back in the early 90s. It looks exactly the same, with the same Arnie artwork, the same artwork at the top. Even the NECA logo, if you can see it here, as used the NECA font. On the back, you can see some of the other figures that are coming out. So we've got some endoskeletons. That's like the Future War one. We've got a colour change in T1000. We've got, of course, the Power Arm Terminator. Then you've got some of the Ultimate Series at the bottom here. And, of course, a new John Connor figure coming out. And within the box, you've also got some accessories. So you've got a normal arm, which is slightly different to the original one, because the original one had a kind of like knife that used to pop out the inside. I have got it, but it's in storage. But it's still cool to have that. You have a missile. So what NECA have done, which is quite clever, is they basically, you've got the power arm here with the claw, which was a completely different arm for the original toy. But what they decided to do is just remove the claw, and then you can pop the missile accessory in the end, and then you've got his missile launcher, which is really cool. And that was the point I got to when this all went bad. So I decided, even though I'm not going to display him with this arm, I wanted to pop this arm off and pop this one on. Now, with all my other NECA figures, what you actually do is just apply a bit of pressure to the arm, push it backwards, and it pops off. And that's exactly what I did. And when I did that, it completely sheared off. It broke. I was absolutely mortified. I was gutted. So the problem of it is this joint is really weak, and I don't know if you can see, but it's actually attached to a bigger piece inside. And what I believed was the ball joint in there actually wasn't the part that you pop off. It's the part inside, and you really wouldn't have guessed that. There's no instructions or anything like that. and it sheared off. It broke into 2 pieces. I'm going to take this arm off now, and then I'm going to show you exactly where it broke. So this is the section that actually plugs into the arm, and not this section here. And it was when I applied pressure backwards, it completely snapped on me, which was really, really gutting. I was really gutted about it, as you can imagine. So I went about trying to fix this. And how did I fix this? Actually, it's easier than I thought it was going to be. Now, luckily, I'd already ordered a new tool from Amazon. It only cost me £6. Just basically because I do some figure restorations and Transformers restorations, and I'm trying to restore a Horrible at the moment, a G1 Horrible, and I needed a mini drill, so I picked up a mini drill, and this arrived the following day from when I did the break from when the toy broke. So basically, all I did, and I put a picture of the how it actually broke up here, so you can see what I'm talking about, is these 2 sections. I tried to glue them together, and the quality of the plastic that's used, it's that kind that just melts with super glue, which is fine when you want that bond, but when you can't actually get it to stick together, it becomes a problem. So what I did is I drilled a hole in one side, and I drilled a hole in the other, right in the middle of where it sheared off, and then I got a drawing pin. I snapped the end off the drawing pin, and I used that as a pin inside. Forced it in the one side with some super glue in the hole, super glue around the other pin, shoved it in, held it in place, and after a night of drying, it's pretty much solid. I think I've lost a slight bit of movement in the joint, but I mean, it still does a full 360. It still goes backwards a little bit. I think I might have lost like a degree or so. I'm happy with it. I'm happy with the repair. But be warned, be absolutely warned that this is really, really delicate. It's probably in a stronger state now because of the metal pin inside than it was originally. So, that was my nightmare. Shall we have a look at the figure? We'll pop on his other arm first. So his human-looking arm. And we'll talk about articulation. This arm could do a full 360. And it has a bend at the elbow. His arm, which you've just put on, could do a full 360 and has a bend at the elbow. He has a waist swivel that can do a 360. His head can do a 360 and it pops off. So if you do want to swap it with another NECA toy, you can do. You've got a bend at the knee, and you've got some ankle rockers, which are slightly more loose than I'd like them to be, but it's okay. And you've got a swivel at the hip. And it looks like you should have a swivel at the leg, but it doesn't want to move. You have his bandolero on here, which is quite cool. It is a separate piece. His jacket actually does come off, believe it or not. And that's why, I mean, I was quite lucky. You see here inside, I don't know if you can see, there's a slight stress mark from basically me trying to get the broken arm off. And the safest way I've found to do that is just to get a little screwdriver and pop that off. With these arms, they're pretty simple to take off. You just unpop them, and it was that movement I did there, that movement that caused the original one to break. You do get a wrist swivel as well, forgot to mention that. Let's have a look at his detail. So, face sculpt, absolutely beautiful. Sorry about the light, it's the best I can do in the room for now. So we've got a beautiful face sculpt with half of his face missing. Looks just like Arnold. What I love about this is they've taken the essence of the original toy here and basically made it more lifelike. It's really, really good. The t-shirt is slightly more pastel than the original. I love all the detail, the sculpting on the arms. Another accessory is the gun, of course. This barrel, as with all of these guns on NECA figures, seems to be a little bit bent. One thing I can't work out about this arm is why he's wearing a watch. Doesn't make much sense. Surely he would have a built-in clock, he'd know the time, but there you go. But let's face it, I mean, it's great that you've got this second arm, and it's great that he can hold his gun like that, and that looks really, really cool. But you're not going to be displaying him like that, are you? You're going to be displaying him with the power arm. That's what you want to do. That's why you bought this figure. You want the power arm on, and this power arm is pretty cool. Mine can still do a full 360, which is brilliant, considering the break. You get a little bit of wiggly-waggly forward and back. You've got a bend, which is really tight at the elbow, and this can spin round. You've got a bit of articulation in the claw as well. I think this figure looks absolutely amazing. It's completely over the top. It's not screen accurate with the arm, of course, or even the clothes, but it is brilliant, and it totally captures the original subject matter, which is really, really good. I love the toy. I'm a bit torn with NECA now. I mean, I've had a really bad experience with them. This cost me, what, 25 quid? And I thought it was ready for the bin, to be completely honest with you. But I managed to save him. But that was down to just I had the right tools for the job. And I managed to salvage him. It was more luck than talent, probably. But it's something to be aware of. If you get this figure, and it is a recommend because I've had a lot of fun with him, recommend get him, but be really, really careful. And just get something sharp in behind, a flat-end screwdriver, a small one, and pop that out. You're looking to remove the metal bit completely. Don't fall into my mistake. So before I go, I want to set up a little challenge to the rest of the Figure Force guys, SMS number 1, and anyone who watches these videos. Tell me about your new toy nightmare. Have you bought a toy that has broke on you straight away? Tell me what it is, what happened, and what did you do with it. I'm really interested to see. Anyway, until next time, I've been Zort Rider, and I'll catch you again soon.